The willful omission of Cardano by leading industry experts and powerful organisations is designed to mute the noise of innovation as it attempts to remove Cardano from the conversation. I see some similarities with mainstream archaeologists, who consistently denied the idea of a lost civilization who may have had technology beyond what we can comprehend. Many facts and scientific data until more recently has been taken out of the public eye to suppress this notion, as it doesn't suit their version of history. But this doesn't change the fact that with our own eyes, we can see a level of precision in megalithic structures worldwide that can't really be explained with copper chisels. And just like the new movement of historians, writers, geologists and archaeologists who are determined to rewrite the history books on ancient civilization, Cardano is trailblazing, writing its own version of blockchain history, and the narrative is not controlled by a powerful few, but by scientific proof and every one of us that's part of the Cardano ecosystem. Welcome back for today's instalment of Cardano Insights, delivering a fast-paced, bite-sized roundup of the all-important Cardano news and ecosystem content from the past 24 hours. Join me as I explore exactly what's been happening at the very pulse of Cardano. So let's get straight into it. First up, and decentralization, or the efforts to become more decentralized over time, should be one of, if not the most important priority for any legitimate blockchain protocol. As we've discussed previously on this channel, at this point we have no defined way of measuring this. Whilst there are many factors that form arguments for which chain is more decentralized, there is no industry-acknowledged system that can definitively measure this. We've talked before about IOG's efforts in setting up a lab at the University of Edinburgh, where they intend on releasing several papers in a view to create an index that we can measure decentralization in an explicit way to see how alternative cryptocurrencies stack up against Bitcoin and each other. This is important work and would provide a great foundation for lawmakers to quantify how we recognise which protocols can be considered sufficiently decentralized as a fundamental component for regulation. So on the topic of decentralization, yesterday, Trail of Bits, who in their words are an organisation that has helped secure the world's most targeted organisations and products, combining high-end security research with a real-world attacker mentality to reduce the risk and fortify code, released this report titled "Are Blockchains Decentralized?" Before we get into this further, just for context, Trail of Bits specialise in software testing and code review for government entities, Microsoft and Google, and also operates a centre of excellence for blockchain security, where they state notable projects include audits of Algorand, Bitcoin SV, Compound, Ethereum 2.0, Polkadot and Solana, to name but a few. So over the past year, Trail of Bits was engaged by the Defence Advanced Research Projects Agency to investigate to which extent blockchains are truly decentralised. They focus primarily, in their words, on the most popular blockchains, Bitcoin and Ethereum, but also investigated, and here's where it got my attention, which was included in the report, proof-of-stake blockchains. The report delves into different aspects of decentralization measures, for example, scrutinizing blockchains' immutability, the idea that immutable transactions make it possible for an entity to manipulate, replace, or falsify data stored on the network. The Nakamoto coefficient, representing the number of validators that would have to collude together successfully to slow down or block any respective blockchain from functioning properly. Cyber and Eclipse attacks, where a blockchain's consensus network could be flooded with new malicious nodes controlled by a single party, and also covers mining pool vulnerabilities, network centrality and software centrality. The report presents us with some interesting takeaways and does well to highlight many of the hurdles blockchain has ahead if it's truly to deliver decentralization. For example, the idea of either accepting immutability and trust that the programmers did not introduce a bug, or permit upgradable smart contracts or off-chain code that share the same trust issues as a centralized approach, which we've seen in real-world examples recently with Solana and Solend in this respect. The number of entities sufficient to disrupt a blockchain is relatively low, highlighting this being 4 for Bitcoin, 2 for Ethereum, and less than a dozen for most proof-of-stake networks. The Ethereum ecosystem having a significant amount of code reuse, finding 90% of recently deployed Ethereum smart contracts are at least 56% similar to each other. Amongst various other takeaways, they also noted that of Bitcoin's nodes, 21% were running on an old version of Bitcoin Core Client that is known for vulnerabilities as of June 2021, and that Bitcoin traffic is unencrypted, stating any third party on the network could route between nodes and can observe or choose to drop any message they wish. The report also acknowledges that proof-of-stake protocols are becoming increasingly popular consensus mechanisms that address some of the shortcomings of proof-of-work blockchains like Bitcoin, Ethereum and their derivatives. However, if you go to this section, which is in the Nakamoto coefficient section on pages 8 and 9, you'll notice that, and to my surprise, Cardano was completely overlooked. Whilst it refers to Avalanche, Solana, Terra, even ETH 2.0 amongst others, referring to them as popular proof-of-stake blockchains, Cardano doesn't feature anywhere in the report. Now, whilst I accept that this report isn't intended as some form of promotion for crypto or popularity contest, and by all accounts it's definitely refreshing to see this kind of research being published, as it's a topic that the industry as a whole needs to become more educated on, omitting Cardano, one of the most decentralized proof-of-stake protocols, is a little strange, or short-sighted to say the least. This is not the first time that we've seen this kind of omission, and it does beg the question, how far will the attempts go not to grant Cardano the same exposure, as in some cases more inferior chains get, even when it's billed as some form of research paper? For me, when I see this happen, it automatically damages the credibility of the publication, and is disappointing. Anyway, I've linked the full research paper in the description below if you want to go and check it out. Now, if you've been a regular on this channel, you'll know from time to time I like to do a little mainstream media watch and check the accuracy of some of the Cardano coverage in the mainstream publications like Cointelegraph or Coindesk. Lucky for us, we seldom feature as main discussion points, but I suppose unluckily for us, when we do, it's normally either an attempt to create FUD or just poor journalism with clear bias or lack of research. Today it's the turn of Coindesk, and the tweet reads, Cardano's development lab, input-output, did not push on June's planned Vasil hard fork on the Cardano testnet, citing technical bugs, the team said on Tuesday. And the article itself literally barely manages a few paragraphs, ending with the sentence, the delay didn't cause a drop in the price of Cardano ADA tokens. They were up 5.6% in the past 24 hours, outperforming Bitcoin's 3.9% rise. These publications never cease to amaze me. Somehow they not only manage to misrepresent the reasons behind the decision to postpone the Vasil hard fork, but in the article with the most important thing on their minds, the price of ADA. I wonder what angle would have been taken if we'd seen a massive drop in price coinciding with the hard fork announcement. Charles did a great job in trolling Coindesk a little with this tweet, writing, "This wasn't what I said at all. Good old Coindesk, the Ralph of publications," and then proceeded to use a Simpsons Ralph I'm Special gif. Now, of all the FUD articles that gets thrown at Cardano, this is one of the more weaker, harmless ones, but it's still a great example of how poorly written articles that display inept journalistic skills are on show for all to see. And sadly, this is the kind of media that's reaching the wider crypto space. It wouldn't have taken much for Coindesk to even read the full blog announcement from IOHK, or just check the 6 or 7 minutes of Charles' update video, and they could have brought their readers a number of positives surrounding the announcement, and just framed it for what it is. The mainstream media has barely covered the significance of the Vasil hard fork, but true to form, news of a postponement and they're right on it. It's amusing that the so-called legitimate media publications are the most poor quality and unhelpful sources of information, especially for newcomers trying to find their feet in crypto. As I always maintain, be very careful where you choose to get your news from. Next up, and recently we covered JPG Store's new offer feature and how this was going to play a big part in increasing the transaction volume and generally making a more vibrant NFT ecosystem on the Cardano blockchain, as this feature would undoubtedly aid the frequency of NFT sales. Well, yesterday we got this update from JPG Store announcing the largest offer made and accepted by the seller took place totaling 70,000 ADA, roughly $35,000 in value, for this Clay Nation NFT. It's great to see how powerful the offers feature is becoming and just how far the NFT scene is progressing on Cardano. It's headlines like this that will not only capture the imagination of users across all blockchains, but also go far in bringing new users to Cardano from outside of the crypto world. Cardano is progressively becoming the go-to platform when it comes to NFTs, and with big deal collaborations with the likes of Snoop Dogg and quality NFT platforms like JPG Store who keep raising the bar, will be some of the key drivers for this. I'm looking forward to seeing what's next for JPG Store and the NFT scene on Cardano as a whole. Finally, and you may have seen this doing the rounds, yesterday, Dirk Hohndel, who is the Chief Open Source Officer at IOHK, sat down with Linus Torvalds at the Open Source Summit. Linus Torvalds created Linux, so pretty significant when it comes to open source platforms. I haven't had the chance to watch the full video, but just on the surface and the fact that these kind of relationships are present in Cardano is definitely positive. It's been no secret about Cardano's effort or endeavour to become a truly open source platform. Well, who better to have a relationship with than the Linux Foundation? Apparently these discussions between Dirk and Linus have been happening since 2013, so well before Dirk joined Cardano. So it seems Cardano's recruitment strategy here is right on point. There's a whole world of possibilities when you get in the same room or share a platform with guys like Linus. I could imagine a world where Cardano Node is included on all Linux distributions, and that would be massive, and probably something pretty achievable in the not so distant future. So that's it for another installment of Cardano Insights. I hope you enjoyed today's video and found value in the content, and if you did, please be sure to comment, like, share and subscribe to the channel. We'll be back soon with your daily roundup, and until then, thanks for watching, have a great day, and as always, keep it Cardano.